Hey guys, John here and I'm in France today. Stopped by a place called Brico Marches. It's a hardware store. Looks pretty big to be fair. Hopefully there's some new stuff we've not seen before, some quirky tools. Let's go and have a look inside, see what we can find. But before I forget, a big thank you to this video sponsor, Eufy, but more on those later. As you can tell, this is a bit of a smaller store, but you never know what they're going to have. Big sign with pictures of tools on the building, so that's always a good sign. Fisher Darroch, seen a bit of that in France. I heard of McKenzie, or Far Tools, but we know where IOB. Here we go, skill tools. Very familiar with skill tools. I don't think I need any more though. But interesting to see them on general sale. Got the Facom's locked away. Yeah, they've got those cool mole grips though. Got these hammers, the unusual end on them. With the 18mm quick snap, got that. Big set of tin snippers. I like these screwdrivers. I've got a lot of these, nicely colour coded. I've got a full drawer of them. Didn't expect to see them on normal sale, or we can buy them loose. I could do that, a few more to that set. KWS, that's an interesting knife trapdoor, isn't it? A clip on the back and then it's got a little secret door for blades. I like that. Cool French collection. That looks like a good price. €25. Set of Facom screwdrivers. From made in France ones too. Go on then.
Dad joke, sorry, can't help it.
Look at that, the last one. Stanley. That looks old as the hills, that thing, doesn't it? There's another one down here. We've definitely got something there, haven't we? Toolboxes. Always happy to see toolboxes. Look at that, a toolbox I don't recognise. It's not often I stumble across a toolbox I don't recognise. McKenzie, I would guess. It feels like Kistenberg. Just see where it's made on the bottom. Portugal. Oh no, it's Portugal. It's available in Portugal and France. You can see where it's made. And then you've got this Fisher Darroch brand. Reminds me of Klein tools with that. And that's a cool little booth, little end aisle thing. Far Tools, the Dimpler, magnetic drywall screw retainer. Converts your regular power drill into a professional drywall screw gun. Big claim. I've seen them before though, to be fair. But I've not seen that one. The Dimpler. It's so hot in here. I'm literally melting. It's the first bit of Opinel we've seen, which is a French knife brand. And you've got my first Opinel. Blunt one. What on earth is this thing? Those blades aren't folding into that handle, are they? So where the heck are they going? You're going to use one of the blades. What's the other two doing? That is an unusual folding saw, that thing, isn't it? Never fails to surprise me. There's always something a little bit different. Cool little shop, this Brico Marche. Loads of different stuff, not quite as big as some of the other hardware stores, but good selection of tools. I found a couple of things, not quite a 5 or a 10, but a few good bits. I reckon I'm going to go to another hardware store and get a bit of a mix, see what I can find. So let's go somewhere else. I'm at the second Brico Marche. This one's about 20 minutes drive, but I thought I can't go home with half a bag full of stuff. I need some more bits, so I've come here. Let's go and see if I can find some more. We've got much more stuff in this store. Lots of the same stuff, but it feels a little bit more stocked. Made in France, little pair of grips. I've seen these a few places. Super long. Carpenters pencils, what's the deal with that? Stanley UK, only seen them in France. I think we get those. That's another item there. Bit of a quirky French form. And look at that, made in France by Stanley. How unusual, €22. Got a few of these though, that's like almost like the standard form for a level over here. And it's not just the short ones. Look at that, that's 80cm level. We've got a French form hammer, it's like we've got a French form level as well. Screwdrivers look pretty standard. It's an unusual little thing, look at that. Must be the smallest, $3.99. like the smallest hacksaw handle ever. Like a really thin bit of plastic and then a little wing nut to clamp it. Should we get one? Go on then. It's a nice British made. Don't know, you probably do get them in England, but interesting to see them over here. Made in England, love it. A gimlet set. I've seen a gimlet set in a few places. What is a gimlet set? I should have got the Outie France gimlet set. Outie France. Automatic retractable. We've seen automatic retractable ones before. Cutter automatic retractable. It's interesting how it's got a slide on the top and a slide on the side. Could be a quirky little thing. It's good to get one of the home brands, McKenzie. Is that what I think it is? A reversible centre punch. I bet you that won't last 2 minutes. Hit that with a hammer. Stanley Black & Decker. It says Belgium on it. What a quirky thing. Quite expensive. $19 for a Stanley reversible thing. It's next to the centre punches. Never seen a reversible one. I think we'll have to go home and investigate that one. Right, let's keep looking. See weird stuff everywhere, don't you? Look. USB light, €4. Don't need one, but the things you see when you're having a mooch. That's an unusual mechanism, isn't it? You push that over to open it. Cool. Can't fit that in my suitcase. Right, so that's the second Brico Marche. Found some other cool bits. Got another full bag of stuff to show you back in the UK. 2 stores down. Pretty happy with that. Loads of cool, interesting bits to show you. Let's get back to the UK. So I'm back from France. This is one of the first videos where I've actually gone around a couple of different stores. The first, Mr. Bricolage. I'm calling it the wrong name. There's a lot of stores in France that are called Brico something. Brico Depot, Brico Marche, Bricolage. I think they're all kind of loosely linked. So I went to 2 Brico Marches, 1 Bricolage, and I can tell you now, the sat-nav took me on a wild journey from one to the other. It was crazy. I was going up this mountain. You don't know where you are, so you just implicitly trust in the sat-nav. And then I ended up, when it got onto a bit of a rocky road, I was just trusting the sat-nav implicitly. But I got there. So 1 Brico Marche to another Brico Marche. I also looked at a Bricolage, which was in Perpignon, and it was right next to this big old fort. It was like probably one of the oldest hardware stores ever going. It had some signs on the walls. I didn't find anything interesting though, because I'd already been to the other 2, and pretty much everything that was interesting in that one I'd already bought. So I've got some cool bits. I don't find bags and bags of stuff in every store. I'm looking for things that are quirky, things that are interesting, things you've not really seen before, and I've got 5. But while I was in France shopping for tools, I still had eyes on the set, all the tools and everything in this area. So let me tell you about this video sponsor, eufy. Now, eufy reached out to us about their brand new product, the S3 Pro Kit. Now, this thing is an absolute beast of a camera setup. We don't accept every sponsor that gets in touch with us, but certain products do stand out to me. Let's get it unboxed. Right, so I've got it all unboxed, and it's really nice packaging, all really well thought out. And what we've got is the 2 4K cameras, and we've got the little home hub as well. Another thing of note is the solar panels, massive on the top there. This is bigger than anything I've seen before, and it says 1 hour of sunlight will give that a full charge, which is pretty epic, and the whole thing is IP67. That's higher than some of the toolboxes on the market, they're IP65. That'll stand up to classic British weather. We do get a lot of rain. We've got all of the screws and fixings you need. You've got an adapter that also has like a Euro plug as well for the home hub. This is an additional solar charger, so if one of your cameras is mounted somewhere, or maybe it's not getting as much light on the top, you can have this little extension panel somewhere which is getting light, so if that's under a soffit, you can have that maybe up on the roof. So pretty cool that they include that in the kit. Quite interestingly too, the cameras have a standard 1/4" mount, so even though you get brackets which make it easy to mount these, if you are in like a particularly awkward spot, you can use any 1/4" bracket, and there's loads on Amazon, so that's a pretty cool little thing I picked up on straight away. So next thing, the fun bit. Right, so they're all set up, and it was a nice, easy process. I am not tech savvy, although I do like tech. So essentially, you download the app, and it kind of just guides you through the process. You set up the home hub first, blue light comes on, you have to kind of plug that to your router, but then that literally does all of the magic itself. So Very, very simple and very quick actually. I've only been at that for a couple of minutes and I've already got them both set up. I've got a great front shot now, looking out over this whole set, and I've got a camera looking out over all of the toolboxes. And the camera looking at the toolbox is actually underneath the mezzanine. So this is a perfect example really. The sunlight that comes through the clear panels in the ceiling of this unit won't reach the top of that camera. So I've been able to plug in the extra little solar panel and basically send that around the corner. Nice and easy to set up and a really clear image as well, which is good. The other thing I'm setting up now is the back one that's looking at my toolbox collection is looking over a fire door. And I don't want like notifications when anyone walks in there to get a toolbox, but I do want a notification if someone goes through that fire door or comes in through the fire door, especially out of hours. So I'm going to set up an activity zone around the fire door and then also set it so it only sends me a notification out of hours. Just so if anyone did break in through that door, I'd have it covered. And the most important feature of these cameras is the MaxColour Vision Pro, which retains lots of the detail and colour, and it looks like this. It also has infrared, which is the night vision, so you're used to seeing that and it looks like this. And you can also pick smart brightness, which is automatically going to choose the best night vision based on the lighting conditions. It's also got a light built in, so you can actually turn a light on and maybe flash it on and off. So if there was somebody in your building, flashing the lights on and also using the two-way speak and being able to talk to them and say, look, I'm watching you and the police are on the way, is a lot more useful than just having a camera. Another little feature I like is what they call the radar-powered motion detection, which basically spots people, gets a little screen grab of the face and then asks you, who's this? And you can kind of put names by family members, friends, the courier even, you can put a little name by who that is, and then it can exclude them from any notifications. You're not getting alerts to your phone for people you know and you trust. And it's not just us that eufy have given a camera to, they've also kindly offered another set of cameras, which we've got for a giveaway. You know we love a giveaway on this channel, and in this video, it's not your traditional 5 tool bundles. It's a eufy camera set, and if you want to be in with a chance to win it, all you've got to do is subscribe to the channel and drop a comment. Let me know what you think of the eufy camera system or any of the tools from Brico Marche. All of those comments will be entered into the giveaway, and there'll be a nice camera bundle going out to you, and we'll ship it to anyone in the world. You know how we do it. We like to include everybody. So make sure you subscribe to the channel and drop a comment below to be entered. So with all that being said, let's get back to the tools.
I have to have my tools!
So let's dig into my bag of shopping from 2 Brico Marches, starting with a couple of bonuses that won't make my top 5 list, which we're going for. We've got top 5 picks from Brico Marche, but this week we'll start with the Brucie bonus.
You've won another Brucie bonus.
We'll get the bonuses out the way first. And one of the bonuses is these Carpenters pencils. You can tell already what is going on with that. They are super long, 300mm, 30cm long Carpenters pencils. Why do you need a pencil that long? Let me get a standard Carpenters pencil. I've got a load of these from WorkZone. Maybe we need to do an Aldi video, but WorkZone's an Aldi brand. I got a pack of them. That's a normal Carpenter's pencil, and that's a French one. That's like a javelin behind your ear, ready to go. You know, I don't know what's going on with those, but that was quirky. Not made me list of 5, but that's what I'm always on the lookout for, weird stuff. Also, you all know by now, I'm always on the lookout for Zollstocks. I usually like the ones with logos on the front, but I found this really old Stanley one. You can tell it's old, all the packaging's falling apart, and I just thought I best get it because I might never see it again. You just don't know, do you? Sadly, it doesn't say Stanley on there, but it does have it on the side. So it is a legit Stanley Zollstock. It's a nicely made one too. So I picked that one up. I got another plain wooden Zollstock, and you can tell it's not as good a quality one because of the thickness of it. It's a bit fatter and wider, and it's not as tight. You can see all the gaps through it. This one's kind of unbranded, really. Not as good. But again, we've grown the Zollstock selection. As soon as I see one, I've got to get it. And speaking of the Zollstock collection, with these 2 here, and that takes us to 48. And then this one was pretty cool. This is a Fisher Directs one, and it's a metre-long aluminium one. So all the ones I've got so far are 2 meters. But then I don't have a little drawer with any weird ones, anything that's not the standard 2 meter. So that can go with my weird Zollstock collection. And maybe one day, if I find any particularly quirky ones, we could do a roundup on that. But maybe that's a short video, I don't know. But that's me Zollstocks. That's me super long Carpenter's pencils. Let me show you my top 5 picks, starting with number 5. So number 5 is the 3-in-1 Stanley saw. Just caught my eye as something a little bit unusual, a little bit different from something I've seen in the UK. And the main reason is because how does this thing work? Even in the packet, I was looking at it thinking, is it a folding saw? How's it supposed to operate? Obviously, these don't fold away. There's a lot of different folding pad saws and things we've looked at. And essentially, this little knob unscrews, and then these entirely come off, and then you just like fix the one in place that you want to use. So it's the kind of thing I really don't like, if I'm honest. But we're looking at it because it's different, and that's the whole point of the channel, really. Let's just find quirky tools, different tools. Are they any good? Is it something we're missing out on? My reaction to this is no, we ain't missing out on this, because once it's blunt, it's in the bin. you're not really being able to replace it. Like, they've got such a quirky little mechanism here. Once you've blunted that, you're knackered. You're not sharpening it, are you? Goodness knows where you'd buy a replacement for it. It's not bad. It feels a bit like a pruning saw, really. Even that's like their hacksaw version. You're not really going to have much joy cutting metal with that, I don't think. But it was interesting to look at. So not much more to be said, really. It's 3-in-1. Wasn't very expensive. It does say multi-saw, and it's got all the different materials, but most of those are being done by the hacksaw, which will cut anything just very, very slow. So that's number 5, the quirky little saw. Let me know what you think in the comments. We have a good old discussion about tools down below this video. I read all the comments and I do reply to as many as I can. So that's number 5. Let me show you number 4. So number 4 is actually a couple of items. They all felt a little bit too small to go on their own, so I've grouped them all together, and we've got, firstly, a quirky little saw. This is like a really small handled hold hacksaw blade, really cheap, and I just thought, never seen something like that before, so we'll have a look at that. And then we've got a bit holder, and then this one. This was really interesting. How good it is, though, that's why it's in the 4th spot, because I don't think it's gonna be very good, but it is interesting. So let's have a look at the saw. You know, hacksaw blades, I do like handles for hacksaw blades because they're 10 a penny. Usually you get loads in a pack, and if you can have a different novelty handle to make it more workable, it's easy to get replacements. You know, we talk about this thing, when those blades are knackered, what are you going to do with it? Nothing. Whereas with this, you can just switch out blades all the time. So couldn't get any simpler. It's literally a molded single piece of plastic with a little wing nut on it, but that wing nut just clamps down on the back of the blade, and obviously it's any size hacksaw blade, and it's turning it into a pad saw. So I thought that is not a bad item to just have in a tool bag. Next up, we've got a bit holder. Now, bit holders is not too much special, and this is basically just saying it's a magnetic bit holder, but it does say Fabric of France. And I was on the lookout for French-made tools while I was over there. There's a few items still in the bag that are French-made, and it's just interesting to know what's still made locally. France is local. It's only over the channel for us, isn't it? Sometimes you have this feeling that everything's been sent to Asia to be made. So as soon as I find something made in France, or made locally, or made in the country that I'm visiting, I try and pick it up. This thing certainly caught my eye for its unusual look. It's called a Dimpler, the Dimpler, and it's registered Fabric of France, and it's a magnetic drywall screw retainer. So essentially, when you're putting in the black screws in drywall, it keeps the heads flush to the wall. If you're going a bit too quick with a normal screw gun, you can blast those screws straight through the plasterboard and it just melts into it. So this thing stops it going too deep. So that was the Dimpler. Next up is this thing, Stanley Fat Max, and it is basically a pin punch with a reversible punch on the end of it, basically. It looked plastic in the packet. It looked just basically like a yellow plastic handle with a 1/4-inch bit on the end, but it's actually quite a nice heavy steel body, like through tang, with a plastic shroud on it, and then essentially there's a 1/4-inch bit on the end, and you can flip over. You've got a 1.5mm end and a 0.8mm end. The thing that seemed a bit weird to me was just the fact that first couple of knocks with a hammer, is that not going to get jammed in there? You might never get it out again. When I use like a 1/4-inch bit driver, sometimes banging in screws, you come to try and get the bit out and you're using pliers. It's just a nightmare getting the bit out. So the idea that you're actually going to be hitting that with a hammer, whether or not that stands up to that, I don't know. Cool idea though, quirky little thing. And I've got a picture on the packet of it being used for bits, like standard 1/4-inch screwdriver bits. Quirky little thing. I've never seen a pin punch that reverses like that, hence why I picked it up, but it's obviously only a small thing, so I grouped it with these 3, and those make number 4. Let me show you number 3. So in the number 3 spot, it's a couple of knives. Knives are a regular feature. I've got a lot of utility knives. I do see a lot of the same models with different badges on and not offering very much really. But in Brico Marche, I did find a couple of interesting ones. KWB, which is a brand I've seen before in Germany, and then McKenzie, which was like their own brand. But they've both got something quirky about them. So let me show you the KWB one. It's all metal and it's heavy. It's got like a bit of a carabiner hook on the end. So that's pretty interesting. It's got a sliding mechanism, but the thing that I like, you open the back like this, you stack up your blades in the back, and then literally you slide the blade to the front, and then when it's blunt, you just kind of pull that back, spit it out, and then it like reloads another one, and you can just quite quickly get yourself a sharp blade. That is nifty, isn't it? It holds 5. It might hold more actually, it comes with 5. And you can just reload it quite easy, which, you know, sometimes it can be a right faff to kind of set up a utility knife with some fresh blades. But this one, it's there in the back, it's quite discreet, it's not really making it very bulky. And literally, that is nice, that's a nice nifty little gadget. It takes a lot to impress me really with a knife because most of them are very, very standard. But that one's pretty nice, so that's the first knife. Let me show you the second one, which is the McKenzie knife. And this one again, looks pretty unassuming, not much going on with it really in the packet. But when I was looking at it, what drew my eye is it's got kind of one little like handle on the top and then one on the side. And obviously I'm thinking, why? Why has it got that? Well, let me show you. So this is like a safety knife. So this is when you're working in a factory, typically you have to have a safety knife because when you put it down, it pulls the knife back in the handle. You can't really have a fixed blade knife. Well, this will do you both. So this is like a auto retracting knife, but then you slide that forward and then it's fixed. I think that's nifty. That's quite a nice thing. You've got a locking knife, and obviously if you're a carpet fitter, that's kind of what you want. You always want certain applications, you want a fixed blade that's not going to push back. But then sometimes you just want to open a box and then put it back on the surface without it being a hazard. So that's pretty cool. And then also, doesn't stop there because it's got this little nifty door. Bang. So quite a lot of these knives have kind of blade storage areas. Most of them are little pop-up things that you open or physically move out of the way, and some have little trap doors and stuff. But I quite like one that's spring-loaded, because I think there's just something a bit simpler about it. You know, sometimes you're trying to open these doors and you're trying to get your fingernail under a little latch or something to get it open. Whereas this, it's just a little spring-loaded latch. So, you know, not expensive, quite an inexpensive knife that, and something a bit different. So I'll add that to the collection, which is, it's going to be competing with the Zollstock collection, to be fair, the amount of utility knives I've got. But that is number 3. Let me show you number 2. So, second on the list is an item which surprised me, this one. It's a quirky looking level, isn't it? I saw this form of level in a lot of French shops. This is the first one I bought, but I think it was Leroy Merlin I was looking at these. And I was kind of quizzing, why are they all their levels this shape? Because they had this in all different lengths. And it's pretty stout. It's like a French form level, this. I've only seen it in France. The interesting thing about it is Stanley Fatmax. It actually says on the label here, UK importer, Stanley UK, which would make you think, this thing, I bought it from France, but Stanley, it's been shipped over to France from the UK. But made in France. So this level is a Stanley level, made in France, but the label says it's UK importer, Stanley UK, Bath Road, Slough.
Slough's a big place, you know, and when I finish with Slough, there's Reading.
So it's like a cast aluminium level, this. It's not magnetic, it's got this really nice flat bottom on it, no magnets or anything, but it's a nice solid thing. It's got a lot of weight to it, so I'm guessing that shape helps it kind of stay true. You know, even with a few bashes, it's not going to twist this thing, is it? So pretty heavy duty thing, made in France. I love it. Pretty cool thing. They had them in all different lengths too, and even the massive ones were still cast aluminium. So love to know the story about these. Are they made in France, shipped to the UK, then shipped back to France, or what? Don't know. Can't confirm or deny that one. That's number 2. French made, French tool in a French form. Pretty cool. Let me show you number 1. So in the number 1 spot is a famously French brand. If you didn't know already, Facom tools are French, and I wanted some Facom tools, and I got a good deal on these. This is their Protwist screwdriver set. These were about 30, 40 euros, but in Brico Marches, I think they're about 24, 25, so I thought that was a good item to pick up, and the screwdrivers are made in France. And if you don't know, they're just a great quality screwdriver. I've actually got some of these Protwists already, and they have like a hardened tip, and they say, you can see on the back, it's like 100% extra tip life, 4 times corrosion resistance. They stand by their screwdrivers, and they do have a really good grip. I quite like the handle style, because, you know, some of these different brands, they have different ways of setting up the handle to make it ergonomic, and you'd think really there's only one ergonomic grip for a screwdriver, and surely that would work for everyone, but they all find different ways of making them a slightly different shape. I particularly like the Protwist handle. I feel like you can get a good grip on it, it's nice and solid, and they're always nice and true. Sometimes a cheap screwdriver set, the handles don't quite line up true to the shaft of the screwdriver, whereas all of these ones, and all my existing Facom Protwist screwdrivers, which were from, probably say about 15 years ago when I got mine, and they're the same handle set, still made in France. I've had a rummage through my drawers, and these are the Protwist screwdrivers I've got, and as you can see, I think I prefer my ones. These are the original ones with the red band around it. Looks like they've simplified the design. So I've just kind of grabbed a handful. I've had these, yeah, definitely about 12, 13 years. I got these quite early on in my workings. I think they came from the RS catalogue. Still made in France though, which is nice. And that is my Facom screwdrivers, which leads me into, we've got to put all this stuff in a toolbox, and we're going to be going for one of these Facom Tough System boxes, and you might recognise it as a DeWalt Tough System box, but with a Facom sticker, and there's a very good reason for that, and that is because, there you go, that's the Facom DS150, which is the exact same as the DeWalt DS150. So essentially, Facom had the full Tough System 1 generation lineup, rebadged but with a red handle, and we have inserts for all these boxes on the website, including the Facom ones. And if you do have a DeWalt box or a Facom box, they all connect. They're the exact same, they've got all the same features, but this is just the Facom branded one. And as always, I've kind of prepared some inserts. So at shadowfoam.com you can get inserts that fit in all the major power tool cases, modular toolboxes, any toolbox you can name. We'll have inserts at shadowfoam.com, and maybe you've got a roll cab like this. You can also get squares, rectangles, any size foam in any colour you want, and it'll slot directly. These inserts, as you can see, are a bit of a quirky shape, but they fit perfectly inside this DS150 box. And they come in twin packs, so you could have 2 layers, or you could kit out 2 boxes at the same time. I've got an insert here, and I'm going to lay out a couple of these tools. we can go for a nice little simple layout, and I can show you how easy it is to get your tools organised. Whether they're French made, German made, whether they're your tools and you just want to know where they all are and make sure that none go missing. Or the main thing is, at the end of the day, when you pack all your tools away, have you got everything? You can make sure you've got everything with a shadow foam insert. So I'll put a rough layout together. Will that fit in the box? Wow. So that's going to go there, that's going to go there. That pretty much is the layout. So let me get a cutting kit. I'll cut all of this in and then I'll tell you how we do it on the last item. So I've cut everything in, bar the level, the biggest, trickiest item probably. That being said, none of the items are tricky, they're all easy, just the exact same technique, cut around the shape, peel back the foam. I haven't done any finger pulls yet, but let me show you a live demo of exactly how you do it. Now, I just take the scalpel with a sharp blade on it, I've got my Antichoc glove on, put a little bit of light pressure on so it doesn't move, and then literally I'm just trace cutting around the item. I'm not cutting very deep at all, I'm just using the scalpel like a pencil, and I'm just capturing the silhouette of the item on the foam. So don't worry about how deep you cut in, just make sure you've gone all the way around and you've not missed anything at this point. That's all we're doing. Once you've gone all the way around, you can take the item out of the way, and if you've done it right, you shouldn't really even be able to tell where you've cut, but if you press down on the foam, you can kind of see the cut you've made. So then you go back with a scalpel and you cut down deeper. So we want that level to sit kind of flush in the foam, and it's about 20 mil deep, so I'm cutting down like 25, 30 mil. I can cut past the point that I want to peel. The main thing is that you've cut down further than you need. You want to make sure you've cut past that point, otherwise you will really struggle to get a nice peel going. So once you've cut all the way around and you're confident you've met up on the corners, typically the corners that you might struggle with, so you want to make sure you've met up and the cut is all the way through. You then just push your finger down one end and you kind of hook the end of your finger under that most relevant layer. You can kind of feel the seams there, and then you pull it back towards yourself. As soon as you've got it going, you can kind of get another finger under there, get a few fingers, just makes it easier to get a bit more purchase, and then you're literally just chasing out the peel all the way along. You can see I'm kind of peeling it a little bit and then going back to get a better grip, and you just chase it out like that. And you can see I've kind of, as I've been peeling it there, it's kind of like split the seam, and it's kind of like deeper over this side than that side. In that instance, you can kind of see it's thicker there and thinner there. Well, I'm going to go back and peel from this side now, about the same amount, and it will kind of even itself out. We just chase it along, and you can see now that little piece there goes with that piece to give me about two layers plus the black layer, which is enough. The level will sit in there now perfectly, and I'm going to know that that's back in my toolkit at the end of the day. All I've got to do now is add some finger pulls, and that is just as easy. There is nothing complicated about cutting shadow foam. You've just got to be methodical. Take your time and just work around everything nice and accurately. So for the finger pulls, I just take all the items out of the way, and I either do a semicircle or like a track. So when I've got a few tools in a row, I'll do a track, and with that, I'll just get a standard steel ruler. Any steel ruler will do. You kind of lay it across the items you want to put a finger pull on. So let's go at the bottom here, and then that'll be all the tops of the screwdrivers. We then just go down both sides of the ruler. And then again, we go back and make sure that we've cut deep enough. I want to cut down to the bottom of like the deepest kind of cutout that we've made. And then you literally just peel all those layers back, and it gives you a nice little channel, and it just means when you're getting the items out, you can see now that screwdriver, it's a lot easier to get out because you can just kind of hook your finger underneath. So I'll put all those in, that's those done. Sometimes nice to cut foam in real time, and then you can see exactly how long it's taken me. This is literally a couple of minutes. That's also the level cut in, and then we've got one item left. You've got this little dimpler. What could you do? Well, you could do a little circle one end, or you could do a semicircle, or another little top tip is you can literally cut really deep under part of it. So where that kind of like 1/4 inch nib is, I'm just going to cut that out really deep, like much deeper than it needs to be. And then what kind of happens is you put that in there, and if you need it, you just press down and it kind of pops up. And it just keeps it all nice and neat. And that is all the tools cut in literally less than 10 minutes with finger pulls, all nice and organised. And as you can see, it fits straight in that box, nice and smart. Any boxes, DeWalt, Facom, you name the brand, we've got inserts for it over at shadowfoam.com. So there you go, that is how you cut shadow foam, and that is my top 5 picks from Brico Marches in France. Maybe I missed something. If I did, drop me a comment down below. And if you want to see me come to your country, maybe you're watching from somewhere other than the UK and you want me to explore your local hardware stores, or maybe you're in the UK and there's a local store to you that you think has got some quirky tool pickups maybe I want to go and check out. So let me know in the comments. We're always talking tools down there, and like I say, I read all the comments and I do get back to as many as I can. So don't miss out, get involved down there, and while you're down there, click the subscribe button and the bell icon, because it really helps the channel grow know, we're over 137,000 subscribers now, all tool nuts on following along on the tool journey, finding quirky and interesting stuff. So let me know what videos you'd like to see down in the description. A big thank you to our sponsor, Eufy. Great sponsor in perfect time for me traveling away to have some cameras in the workshop. We've got a link at the top of the description for some Eufy smart cameras, and make sure you enter the giveaway. It's a great little giveaway, a little bit different to what we usually do, but make sure you enter and you can win one for yourself. Thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.